Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back. My name is Abby, or Spaceman Chuck, and today we are going to be reviewing Andy Muschietti's The Flash. So as you guys can tell, I have a new studio, a new apartment, so I've been a little slow on the content recently, but with this video, we are getting back on track, so yeah, let's get right into it. It's finally here. The footnote to the DCEU that has been stuck in development hell for nearly 2 decades. Andy Muschietti's The Flash is a blatantly confused superhero film that neither achieves cohesion as a contained narrative or as a franchise event. It's a film that confidently races through its multiverse-bending tale as it butchers one of the greatest comic book stories ever told in an attempt to pander to nostalgia and cheap beats. Though not without some merit as it races towards its narrative catalyst, the film never knows how to quit, however, as it concludes with some of the most baffling sequences ever put on the big screen. Akin to a $300 million car crash, I can't say it's the most boring comic book movie of the year simply due to its nature. Yet, I can say, however, that it is one of the most ill-conceived blockbusters of all time. Flashpoint is one of the most iconic comic book tales of the 21st century. In the story, Barry Allen races back in time to save his mother, but due to the butterfly effect, ends up creating a reality where the Justice League were never formed, as a war between Atlantis and Themyscira rages on. In this new reality, Thomas Wayne takes on the cowl of the Caped Crusader, while Bruce died on that fateful night instead. It's a world that feels as if it's on the constant brink of devastation, as it explores the concept of inevitable and necessary tragedy. The story itself is a mind-bending narrative that owns in on the Flash himself, representing him as a child simply yearning for his mother, and as a god-like being that holds the key to time travel itself. It showcases his abilities both as a blessing and a curse, reminiscent of many great superhero and mythological tales alike. While the film sets up this iconic narrative, it's hard not to be a bit amused as the foundation is built. But as this loose adaptation trudges along, it prioritizes cheap nostalgia and varying levels of quality in terms of spectacle, opting for a lifeless, applause-driven entry that highlights the worst of the modern blockbuster industry. However, as a piece of entertainment, its lows are as dire as some other blockbusters that we've seen this year. A testament to the miracle that is The Flash being even as comprehensible as it is, or to the state of the industry in general. You decide. The film opens with Barry Allen, played by Ezra Miller, late to work. He awaits his order as he receives a call from Alfred, played by Jeremy Irons, asking him to run to Gotham City to take care of a collapsing hospital building. Though a little ditched, Barry manages to save everyone, including a multitude of newborns, in one of the most assuredly dreadful uses of CGI in modern filmmaking. And that's just in the first 10 minutes. Though tonally it matches the energy of the titular character himself, and Muschietti does have a solid visual eye, even he can't manage to wrangle this decade-long mess into a competent superhero flick. As Affleck and Godot grace the screen for a potential final outing, the film carries on to tell its solo story as Barry returns back to the cafe just in time for a sandwich. On paper, that's a solid beat. Watching it play out, however, feels like an utter mess. And that seems to be a huge problem with The Flash in general. It's not entirely devoid of good ideas. It just has no idea how to properly execute them, as it consistently dives deeper into the uncanny valley. After his backstory is expositorily established, Barry races back in time to cause a seemingly simple anomaly to save his mother's life. In doing so, on his way back to the present timeline, he gets booted out of the Speed Force into 2013 by a mysterious figure. He discovers his younger self in this timeline with no powers, and finds a couple other differences as well, a crucial one being Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne inhabiting this reality instead of Affleck's. Present Barry attempts to recreate his origin event for past Barry, but instead loses his own abilities in the process, eventually causing both of them to panic as Zod, played by Michael Shannon, broadcasts to Earth that he will invade if they do not bring him Kal-El. The film attempts to play with the DCEU roster, but ultimately feels half-baked, unmotivated, and rushed to truly make an impact. Both Barrys end up at Wayne Manor with a retired Bruce Wayne, played by Keaton, explaining to them how the multiverse works with a bowl of spaghetti. It's a bit hard not to groan. Keaton gives an understandably tired performance, and ultimately feels exploited from a business standpoint rather than being for narrative's sake. The film fails at understanding the core of the story being adapted, and instead opts for the cheap, nostalgic route, attempting to garner the commercial success of No Way Home. It feels especially embarrassing coming out mere weeks after the similarly themed Across the Spider-Verse, a film that proves the best of both the superhero and multiverse genres. Both Barrys and Bruce embark to Siberia to find Kal-El, but find his cousin instead, Kara Zor-El, played by Sasha Calle. It's uncanny to see Keaton's Batman move in a manner so heavily composed of CGI, but at least Calle's Supergirl has some solid action beats. And as messy as the film is, Calle does a great job with what she's given to work with, and I genuinely hope she still has a future within this franchise. The final battle with Zod takes place on a barren, textureless wasteland that feels inherently boring from a visual standpoint. Both Barrys get caught in a time loop in attempting to save everyone, and what ensues is one of the most jarringly unhinged moments ever put on the big screen. Featuring a CGI recreation of any late actor or actress is completely disrespectful in the first place. To do so and have it look like an uncanny abomination undoubtedly makes it even worse. In these final moments, the film falls apart completely. It's obvious the development process caused a multitude of endings to be played out, and audiences received the one that's vague enough for the DCEU to carry on afterwards, leaving no impact whatsoever. Both Barrys have arcs that feel incomplete either thematically or narratively, including a twist that instigates more questions than it does answers. As an experience, The Flash at least provides for some jaw-dropping spectacle, for better or worse. Mostly worse. Viewers will be appalled at the uncanny CGI, while trying to connect with the foundation of an incredible story at hand. Too bad it falls completely apart. It's a disaster comparable to the absolute worst of comic book adaptations, and proves there needs to be a change within the business-oriented formula that comes with developing such a huge project like this. With Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Across the Spider-Verse genuinely feeling handcrafted instead of coming straight out of the assembly line, this year has shown a light on the contrast that the industry is working with. The Flash proves to be not only a pivotal turning point for Gunn's DCEU, but for the entirety of the blockbuster industry. As this new cinematic universe shapes up, let's just hope that the next outing for the Scarlet Speedster is one that's a lot more focused and successful, and that it doesn't take a couple more decades. For all that, I'm gonna have to give Andy Muschietti's The Flash a 1.5 out of 5 stars. I think it is an absolute blatant mess of a film in general, not just by superhero standards, not just by blockbuster standards, but just as a film in general, it does not work at all. Pumping a ton of money into projects like this just does not matter at the end of the day if everyone is so disjointed in what they want to achieve in the first place. There needs to be more of a cohesive vision, or just one person calling the shots in terms of what to do. At least that way it'll be more focused. Instead, The Flash tries to attempt so many different things and doesn't succeed in any of them. Anyways guys, I think this review is long enough for a movie that I don't think really even deserves it. But yeah, thank you for watching. My name's Abby, or Spaceman Chuck. Leave a like, subscribe, it really helps me out. Hopefully I get the studio set up a little more. I can have more content out soon. So until then, see you next time.